So your Pentagon counterpart said yesterday that the U.S. is ready to send more capabilities to the eastern flank countries independently of NATO if they need it. He said that, and well, these countries have been pretty open about their desire for an increased U.S. presence. So does that mean that it's basically a done deal? And when might we expect a decision? And second, if I may. The Belarusian dictator Alexander Lukashenko felt necessary recently to stress that he will not allow any occupation of Belarus, presumably by the Russian forces that are coming, which of course prompted concerns that this is in fact what might happen. And there have been concerns about that. Are you concerned about such a scenario of Russian forces basically occupying Belarus?
So to start with your first question, I know my Pentagon counterpart and predecessor has spoken to this in recent days. He's spoken to the number of service members at a heightened state of readiness and contextualized the fact that this order will ensure that they are a heightened preparedness to deploy and provide support should they be called upon. But he was also clear that they have not been activated for deployments. These are the types of decisions that will be made as an alliance, as the full NATO alliance. So I would defer to my Pentagon counterpart and to NATO to speak to the next steps.
So if he also said that the U.S. might send additional capabilities independently of that NATO response force if there's a need, and he said that the U.S. is open to provide that. So is that, I mean, Baltic states and Poland have been pretty open that they want this increased presence.
I will leave it to my Pentagon counterpart to speak to potential deployment of service members. They've spoken extensively to this yesterday and in recent days. When it comes to Belarus, we have been clearly voicing our concerns with the military buildup in what should be an independent, sovereign country. Russia's surging of troops into Belarus is a cause for deep concern. That surge, as I alluded to a moment ago, threatens Belarus's sovereignty. It undermines its status in some ways as an independent country. We also know that Belarus has been an increasingly destabilizing actor in the region. You need look no further than the Lukashenko regime's attempts to cruelly weaponize the flow of innocent migrants, the migrant crisis that the regime orchestrated. And the other point I would make is that just as we've been clear with the Russian Federation about the severe costs that would befall them were this to move forward, in recent days we've also made clear to Belarus that if it allows its territory to be used for an attack on Ukraine, it would face a swift and decisive response from the United States and our allies and partners. We would, if an invasion were to proceed from Belarus, if Russian troops were to permanently station on their territory, NATO could well have to reassess our own force posture in the countries that border Belarus. But to your question, the permission structure that the Lukashenko regime has provided to Vladimir Putin to station a large number of Russian troops on what should be sovereign Belarusian soil, that is an affront to Belarus's sovereignty. It is another indication that this is a regime that has little regard for its own people, little regard for the state, and the most regard for the survival, the welfare of the regime itself. One more question on Russia, Ukraine? Sure.